So we're starting over, everybody. We're starting over. All right. So, welcome to Friday Focus. Today's Friday the 13th. I really don't buy into that. Things go on as usual. So, everybody, we are live. Last week, I talked about lessons from the tattoo parlor because I spent some time at a local tattoo place over the holidays. And I got a tattoo. I got a tattoo last week, a week ago. And people had all kinds of things to say about that, and they asked me, "What does it look like?" So here's what it looks like. And those of you on Instagram who can't see it, it's LOVE, love, on my wrist with the heart being the O of love. Now I put this on my wrist in my eyes view, where I see it when I use my hands, where I see it when I write, where I see it all the time. Why? I've been a longtime student of A Course in Miracles. If you don't know what that is, Google it. But Marianne Williamson's probably the best known interpreter of A Course in Miracles. And she says that the Course in Miracles is about forgiveness. Maybe I didn't get that part. Maybe I'm not smart enough. But what the Course in Miracles taught me many years ago was that there's really only two thoughts. Every thought that we have is either based in fear or it's based in love. Love. Therefore, I chose to put love on my wrist because why? Because I've always been challenged to remember that. We all are. We're human beings. Fear is very loud and fear takes over. But also, being in a caregiver role for 18 months or so, moving on to 2 years, I have to be reminded to be patient. I have to be reminded to be present. I have to be reminded those things to me is coming from love, not from fear. Fear of what's going to happen, fear of what happened if we don't do this, fear if I let my son go do something by himself, that something would happen to him. So I need to remind myself. Now, this helped me a lot when I became a coach. So all you coaches listening out there and all you humans listening out there, there's really only two thoughts. Your clients are either coming from fear or they're coming from love. You are either coming from fear or you're coming from love. And I work with people in two particular segments. One is career stuff and figure out what they want to do with their life. And one is small business owners like myself, coaches and consultants. So I'm going to give you two stories that illustrate this through those two lenses. Okay. So first, through career, someone that I work with, well, everyone that I work with, they come in with fear. I don't know what I want to do. I can't make a change. I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other thing. And so, what do we do? How do you do that? How do you make a better decision? So, when you're coming from love, it might look like this. You do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Well, I had a client. I mean, my longest client who took time to change was 10 years. The second longest was 5 years. Everyone else is 1 to 2 years that the change gets made. Now, the 5 year person was so afraid. They wanted to be in the nonprofit world. They'd always been a philanthropist, but taking a corporate salary and going to the nonprofit world was something that they didn't want to do. Of course, they had fear about that. It took 5 years, but over the course of discovery, applying, doing stuff outside of work, etc., this person finally reduced the fear to the point that solutions were clear. And in the end, actually ended up working for the for-profit company that she originally worked for in a nonprofit arm that they had. Perfect solution. Fast forward many years now, this person hasn't been my client in a long time. They work full time in the nonprofit world, right? So fear will stop us from doing what we love. Fear will stop us from knowing that we have something we want to do that matters to us. All right. So in the career change space, of course, I deal with fear up against what you love all the time. And it doesn't mean you love being a clown, so you're going to go join the circus and never see your family again, right? We don't throw people off a cliff. All right, now let's take this to the small business side. I want to talk about pricing. If you notice, those of you watching not on Instagram, you can see there's like a little ticker tape below me, and I am bringing coaches to a call by invitation only. You have to contact me to get an invitation to hear the trends that I've been seeing, that I've been studying, that I've been interviewing people about, the trends going on in the coaching world. And that's going to happen on the 19th of January. If you're on Instagram, you can find the link in the bio. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. In the business world, when you're afraid to ask for the amount of money that you want, and even if this could be your career, the amount of money that you know your position is worth in the marketplace, you underbid, right? When you come from fear, you underbid. Oh, I think it's too much and I won't get it, or this will happen, or that'll happen. If you work with clients at a lower price point that you didn't really want to work with, you've got headaches. Right. So I'm going to tell you a story that I know I've said this in my lectures, but I don't think I've ever said it on any of our live calls. I once, many years ago, spoke for a business association whose main focus was to help women get a place in the workforce in a particular industry. I got a nice fee to speak for them. They contacted me 10 years later. 10 years had passed, and they'd love to have me back as a speaker. Their organization had grown. Our first conference had been in a very small hotel. Now it was going to be in Chicago in a big conference hall. And they were like, "Oh, our records show that we paid you X amount 10 years ago, and that's what we'll pay you to speak." And I was like, "Uh, no, it's been 10 years. Just like anyone else, my salary, my rate has gone up." And they were like, "Oh, sorry. We can't do that." I said, "Remind me why your organization exists." "Well, we exist to help women have equal pay in the workplace. We exist to have women, have positions of prominence in our industry." And I was like, interesting. Okay, so an organization that is about all that is telling a woman that I should not make more money after 10 years honing my skills and practicing and, getting better at what I do. Interesting. No, thanks. I still don't want the job. They called me back a week later and gave me the job at my price. So I hope these little stories help you to remember, come from love, not from fear. And we're human. What can we do? It happens all the time. But that's why I got it tattooed on me. So if that's what you need to do to remember, do it. you know, don't tell your doctor I said so. But anyway, hey, thank you for joining me for another Friday Focus. And I will see you here next week. Yeah. I have a birthday coming up. That's part of why I got the tattoo, by the way. All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye, everybody.